Mrs. McDonald, I understand that when you were younger, you were under the care and control of the Halton Children's Aid Society for a period in your life. Is that true?
Yes. I was approaching my teenage years when I was in foster care. I spent some time in group homes as well as foster homes.
And just overall, what would you say about your experience there?
Oh, it was not a good experience. It was pretty hellish when I was living in both foster care and group home. I saw a lot of things that children should not see while they're in care. It made the situation a little bit more difficult being in care compared to being in my parents' home, because the abuse was escalated in care. So you saw a lot of fights, a lot of aggravation, a lot of disrespect between the kids that were in foster home and the group home staff as well.
During your time in foster care, or if you were in a group home at the time with the Halton Children's Aid Society, did the workers from the society ever come into your school to speak to you?
Yeah, they came in on a regular basis, and I never knew about it beforehand. I wasn't informed. My parents weren't informed. I was very in a very vulnerable state at that time. So I believed that they were trustworthy people and they were there to help me, but it turned out to be completely opposite of what I expected.
Now, when they came to, you're saying that they didn't notify you, but I'm assuming that you were in your classroom at the time. So how would you find out that they had come to speak to you? I mean, would a worker come and get you? Would you get someone take you from your classroom? Or what would how would you get notified that you had to go and speak to a worker at your school?
It came through a PA system where the teacher was notified to send me down to the office.
And did you think that had any effect on the other kids in the class when you were being called out?
Yes, because every time somebody gets called out of class, first thing that students say is, "Oh, what did you do?" Especially when you're down, like being called down to the office, you're already labeled as a bad kid because you're getting called to the office, even though nobody really knows the reason why you're being called to the office.
Let's continue on. So, for instance, you got called out of your class over the PA system and you went down to the office as a result of being called down. So, what would happen next? Where would you go? Would the workers be waiting for you there, or what was it? Tell me what happened next.
Yes, when I went down to the office, there was two workers there waiting for me. They were complete strangers, so I had no idea who they were. They just explained to me that they were from Child Protection Services and that they wanted to talk to me about my family environment.
where did they talk to you? Did they do it just right in the office with the secretaries there, or where did you actually talk to them?
No, it was just in a room with the door was closed, but they were there. They were made a presence of themselves, but the office staff didn't really know, but they knew that something was going on.
So after going to the office, you're saying that you were taken into a private room and did you say the door was shut?
Yeah.
And at that point, would you be alone with these two workers and you did not know who they were?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, after the workers got you into this room, what would happen next? Uh,
Then we just had a discussion about what was happening. They never put any resources into place to help me or anything else. They just said, well, we're taking you into care, basically. So it was just, I had no options. I had no resources, nothing to help me. It's just, these people told me I had to go and I had to listen. A lot of the questions that they were asking me, it's like they already knew the situation and what was happening in the home. So a lot of the questions that they were asking me wasn't really asking me questions, but they were more or less telling me what was happening. So they were more or less trying to lead my answers into a different direction than I wanted them to go.
now that you're an adult, would the term leading or suggestive questions, would that be a term that could be used for the kind of questioning that they did?
Yes.
When you left the meeting, again, how were you feeling after you left that meeting?
Scared, nervous, intimidated. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was vulnerable. I was left alone. I had nobody there to support me. So it was a real rough time in my life. I just felt that these people were going to help me and I was supposed to do what they told me to do. And then they didn't do anything to help me. They just said, you're going and this is it.
After you left the meeting and went back into your classroom, or again, went back into the school environment, um, was there any other implications or any other thing that you felt after you went back into class and, with your friends or with your classmates at school?
Well, I was in grade 8 when this started to happen, so it kind of made me lose my focus on my education. So being in grade 8, that was actually the last time I went to school. Um, I never had a high school career because I ended up dropping out. but I lost pretty much everything, my whole career, everything that I had. I wanted to be a police officer at that time, but I could not focus on anything because of everything else that I was going through. There was no family reunification, no counseling, nothing to help my family get through this or anything. It was like they knew my family better than I knew them.
Now, when you went back to again back into class or with the teachers, did you feel at any point in time that maybe um, you felt different from other kids? Did that have any effect on you as to what you felt when you went back to class or with your peers outside?
Yeah, because I was actually always classified in grade school as one of the popular kids. And I had a large group of friends. And then after that, we kind of all started going in our own directions, our own paths, and everything else after that. So I think a lot of the friendships started to decline from that point because I wasn't stable. I couldn't stay in a stable situation. Um, I was all over the place. I was running away. I was trying to find myself. Um, and it was hard. It was difficult.
Yeah. When you said that you were running away, where were you running away from?
I was running away from the children's aid.
Now, was that because of your experience in foster care or in the group home settings?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of things going on there that I thought I would have been better off staying at home than being in foster care.
Do you think that the involvement of the Children's Aid Society at coming to your school to interview you had a negative impact on your education and your schooling experience?
Yes, for sure.
Looking back at your experience as far as being interviewed at the school, do you think that Children's Aid workers should be coming to the schools to be interviewing children?
No, I think there's a better location for the CAS to do this instead of at the school.
Do you think that if Children's Aid Society were to interview at, say, for instance, at their offices, away from the school, do you think that you would have preferred that to be a better location?
That would have been a more suitable choice. Then that way nobody would have known what was happening or what was going on. It would have been more of a private situation.
Okay, so
But
you're
I felt having it at the school brought so many more people into the situation that didn't need to be in the situation, whether it was my peers, or whether it was staff of the school. Nobody else should have been involved in a very private situation.
would I be correct in saying that you felt that the school was not a safe place where you could go to get away from the problems maybe that you were experiencing in care of the Children's Aid Society, or maybe even at your home?
Yeah, no, it felt like it was unsafe because I never knew when they were going to show up. And it also starts a lot of bullying when it comes to things that people think that you're a bad kid or your peers think you're a bad kid. It can lead to bullying on that kid as well. So it escalates the emotional and mental issues for children. I just think that CAS needs to be more equipped when handling children who are in a vulnerable state. More education is needed, and more support needs to be provided for families going through this situation.
Peter, you first. Does the government need to legislate some kind of watchdog to specifically deal with children's aid societies in Ontario?
We've got to go far beyond that. Children's aid is out of control. There's absolutely no accountability whatsoever. The government has refused to enact legislation that would give the provincial ombudsman oversight capacity vis-a-vis children's aid, family and children's services. Let's understand this is a private corporation, a private organization. It's not a part of the government. No accountability. I say it's time to shut it down. The government should be directly delivering child protection services.